All right. Welcome to the Kubeflow Pipelines community meeting. Today's day is April 9th, 2025. This meeting is governed by the CNCF Code of Conduct. The meeting is recorded and will be uploaded to the Kubeflow YouTube account after the call has ended. So that's the YouTube Kubeflow Pipelines playlist. I'll upload it afterwards. So as always, we start with a couple of introductions for anybody that's new and would like to introduce themselves. The floor is open.
Hey, I'm Ethan. First time joining. My background's in machine learning, but thought I'd try to get into open source and see what you guys are about.
Awesome. Nice to meet you, Ethan. Anyone else?
Before we go to other topics, sorry, let me ask something. Is there anyone in the meeting that is coming here because of the GSOC project? Okay, I'll take that as a no. Okay, because if there will be, maybe we could talk about the GSOC project, but I don't think that's the case. Okay. All right, sorry. Go ahead, Homer.
If you're aware of them, maybe it's worth, they might not be aware of this call. So a nudge or like just a note letting them know. I don't know. I'm not sure which individuals you have in mind, but if you know them,
Yeah,
the
actually,
handles.
it's not clear. Sorry, actually, it's not clear for them where to um ask the mentors to help. So just in case there be someone who was here because of the GSOC project, maybe we could talk, but that's fine. That's fine. Go for it.
Okay, awesome. Anyone else?
Maybe me. My name is Yun Kai, and on GitHub I go by Kai LA. I just submitted my proposal for the GSOC for integration of PostgreSQL to Kubeflow, and also I'm working on the issue to um, add a always use latest pipeline for button for the front end. And I'm grateful for the advice that I received from Humair and Matt. And also I received the kind response from Ricardo. Thank you.
It was mostly Matt. I'm just poking, but really appreciate you working on that pull request. On that note, if you wanted, so I'll get to the 2.5 release after introductions, but if you wanted to get that in, so if you're targeting for this week, and no rush, if not, we'll get it for 2.6, but that is something I'll be doing this week. So
I think I can manage it in this week.
awesome. Anyone else? See a couple of other new names. All right. That's okay. Feel free to also introduce yourself in chat. So let's move on with the agenda items. So 2.5 release this week plus SDK is our hope. Chen, we can discuss maybe, like, I saw your email about the KFP server API PyPy project. So maybe you want to add some context there. And
yeah, so I think it's kind of unfortunate. Like we only discovered this later. The project is owned by a ex-team member who already left Google recently, actually, and so we don't have the ownership on that KIP Server API project. For the rest, we do have ownership, and the lack of ownership makes we can still upload packages, but we cannot like delete. We cannot yank a bad release. Short term, I think it's okay, but long term, I do think that's a concern. we should probably consider a migration path. Maybe we need to create a new package, for example, KP API. I think server is kind of redundant in that context.
Is this for, sorry, I missed it. Is this for the Python package on the SDK?
We have multiple Python packages.
One of
This
them.
is the one for the backend API, basically.
I see.
For the CRUD, those kind of things.
Yeah.
For the pipeline IR, we do have control over that.
Okay.
So I think the risk is not that big, but I think we still, ideally, I think we should have ownership of all the assets we
For sure. Is there somebody at PyPy that we know that we can talk to, like at the Python Foundation, to try to get help there?
No, I sent an email to my ex-team member,
Okay.
ask them to kindly transfer the ownership.
I see.
I sent this I think over a week ago, but maybe give it some time. Maybe they just didn't check their email. But
Since we're talking about migration anyways, I hope you don't mind, Chen. I also dropped him a message on LinkedIn trying to see if like we can get, but I'm asking them to transfer them to you, not to me, and see if maybe they might be more active there, since maybe I don't know what email you have, who knows, but yeah, let's see. And right now you can release the packages for this project though, right?
Yes, I can release. Alternatively, I can use our account, generate I think API token, give it that to you, so you can release. But none of us can like manage, can delete or yank any release on that. So
yeah, that's okay, I guess.
That's okay for this release.
Yeah. Let's see where we head. Ideally, we just get access. I don't have to talk about migration if we don't have to. Cool. Okay, so we can stay in touch with emails on how we want to coordinate that. I am thinking when I get to the release, I'll release everything else and then hit you up, and we can do either a token
that works.
or you can do it.
Easily upload that package as well.
Just trying to get some exposure to like the whole flow myself. So probably also make some mistakes. I'll reach out and you can advise as needed. All right. 2.6 will so that's after this upcoming release. 2.6 we will align the releases as per our discussion a couple of meetings ago. So it probably won't be called 2.6. It'll be called 2. Whatever the latest SDK minor is at that time. So we'll keep releasing SDKs as usual and bumping their minors. But then when we get to the KFP release, I'm thinking we will align then, and we can talk about like how we're going to do like SDK releases in the future for that. Probably just patch releases. Is that consistent with everybody's view here?
Mary, you are not presenting your screen. Are you?
Oh no, is it not working? All right,
or is it only me not seeing your screen?
I don't know. I'm on Wayland now. It's like causing me issues. Can somebody maybe share their screen? And I can pull mine.
Do you want to retry sharing screen, or I can present as well?
I think it'll be better if you do it.
Okay.
I think
can... Let me
my Zoom is not cooperating today.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome. So we're at the 2.6 point. So we're talking about aligning the minor versions for 2.6 with the SDK. So instead of 2.6, if like at the time of this next release, for KFP, if SDK is like 2.17, let's say, then we will align those minor versions. So the KFP release would be 2.17. Does this sound good? Any concerns? All right. Cool. Sounds good. Let's keep going. Matt, you have the next point.
Sorry, I did have a thought on the version aligning. Will we have
Mhm.
any version checks when the pipeline is submitted? Like if the SDK version is higher than the API server version, like should we allow it, or wondering how to handle that? Because I think in our previous discussion around this, we wanted to kind of
think
have compatibility around this.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I think we should have checks. If you're using a higher SDK version than what you are deploying, we should at least have a warning, right? Because um then you might have like breaking changes. I don't know. Thoughts?
I know one thing that like Docker and seems like Kubernetes and maybe a couple other like utilities that I've used have done is when you print the version information, it shows you the version of the SDK, but also the like the you know, Kubernetes version or Docker version that's underlying stuff like that. So we might be able to do something like that with the SDK, just so that's more visible to people. What versions they're using, kind of in one place.
Sorry, I lost track. So where do we want to show the warning? To the SDK user or to the backend deployer?
I think that's a good topic of discussion. I think that the version mismatch would happen when you're trying to submit the pipeline, right? So
Okay, yeah.
you can submit the pipeline in multiple ways. You can submit it via like the client, the you can submit it via the UI. I think showing it a warning on the SDK also makes sense, but I'm open to thoughts here. What do you guys think?
So I think currently the version control between the backend and the SDK is exactly the KP server API package. The version for that we ping. Let me present my screen this tab. So when you use SDK to submit, and this one has to match the backend. Meaning currently the current SDK supports backend later than 2.1.0. And when we do a release of a new version, we relax this version if it's known to be compatible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess what I was getting at is like when you compile the pipeline, it includes the SDK version that was used to compile the pipeline. If I go to upload that pipeline or submit a run directly, should we reject that, or?
No, I think that's the schema version. For schema version, we do have that's basically the pipelines, the KIP pipeline spec version we are talking about, which is here. I think this is the pipeline spec version. Is this what you mean? Oh, I think actually, sorry.
No, it will have the SDK version that you use to compile it
I
as
think
well.
the SDK version used to, as long as this doesn't change, then the compiled result doesn't change. But for the SDK version, we also have that. I can show maybe an example here. In the schema, we have the schema version. This is actually the SDK. Sorry, this is SDK version. This schema version is, so far, this is either 2.0 or 2.1. I think this is basically matched to the way to alpha 1, this is like, yeah, I forgot how we decide this is a 2.0 or something. But I think in the backend we do check the schema version. It's either 2.1 and 2.0. 2.0, the diff between 2.0 and 2.1 is like I think the type for the input parameter. We used to support 3 types, the string, int, and double. And moving to 2.1, the change was to support protobuf type, protobuf.value as a type, meaning we support like JSON.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the SDK version is actually not important when you're submitting the
it's more the
pipeline.
schema.
Yeah, okay. And we bump that every time the API changes?
No, so far we only bumped it once for this 2.1. I think if we blame, we can actually see the difference. It should be.
I'm just wondering about the case where the SDK starts supporting new options and the backend doesn't support it yet. And it'd be nice for the user to get an error message rather than have some undescribed or non-deterministic behavior.
I think so. If they're using an older API server in that example, or
Yes, yeah.
okay.
Old SDK should always work.
Yes.
Yeah, I think since we have the IR, we only made one time change that is incompatible with the old version. That's when we bumped the schema version to 2.1. All the rest changes, like they're lost to this change, but they are always backward compatible. I think the one-time change that's incompatible is, let me see quickly.
I feel like so the SDK version is still important, right? Because we're adding, when we add functionality to the SDK that's based off the SDK version, even the API can still stay the same. We could still add functionality, right? I'm wondering, like, when we release a new SDK, the minimum API version it should work with is the API version or the KFP version that it's being released with, right? Like that's the one that we would guarantee, is my guess. So like, suppose that we're releasing SDK 2.17 and instead of 2.6 now it's KFP 2.17. So we have KFP 2.17, SDK 2.17. SDK 2.17 adds some new functionality, right? And it won't work with KFP 2.5, right? So we should give a warning or something that says on the SDK side, like, hey, you're using KFP 2.5, but your SDK is 2.17. You should use KFP 2.17. Does that?
Yes, I think that's always from the backend, from the API validation, right?
Yeah. Okay.
When API detects some new field they don't recognize, they have the chance to prompt the users to upgrade their SDK.
Okay. Matt, is that what you were talking about, or am I missing it?
Yeah, if we just want the API server to reject it as not recognizing the field, that's fine. I was just raising the question of if we should check for version compatibility at pipeline run submission time.
Version compatibility at pipeline runtime. I don't know if we should we reject it?
Yeah, I think we should reject.
Yeah, okay.
By default.
Reject if KFP's version is lower than SDK compiled IR. All right, let's keep going. Got lots of topics. So Matt, you have a topic here. Can we remove the CI check? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a GitHub workflow that essentially checks if all the other GitHub workflows have passed on the PR, and it has like a 45-minute timeout or something like that. So it'd be nice if we just removed that. It doesn't seem necessary anymore, but just wanted to see if there's a reason for that, because GitHub can be configured to require certain CI checks to have run.
Yeah, so we can block Prow for merging it if all the CI hasn't passed, right? So, and
Actually, as I was speaking, maybe the reason why it exists is because it's dynamic, the CI that is run on a PR, because there's an extensive use of only run these tests if these files have changed in this directory. And so maybe that's the reason why, and we can't rely on GitHub.
oh, we have to, oh, I see, because we have to specify on which ones they would have to block, right?
Yes,
We can't, okay.
well, I think you probably could configure that all CI has to pass before it can be merged, but there's sometimes a gap between when the CI, like the workflows, show up on the GitHub PR.
Okay, so I think
yeah.
the broader point is CI check is annoying. I see Alex is also plus oneing it. I think a lot of people are not happy with it, from what I understand. CI check is annoying. Can we find a more more friendly alternative? Is GitHub out of box support sufficient here? I think we can get like a GitHub issue on this, and try to figure this one out, async. I think if we can do it via GitHub options, then I mean, Matt, we can work together on like setting up the GitHub configurations for it. Otherwise, I don't know what else is out there that we can use.
Yeah, we can look into it. I don't have access to the repo, so I would rely on someone else.
Yep. That someone else is me. All right, Daniel.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so I mentioned this in our last meeting that I was working on these proposals to improve the KFP component experience. The PRs for both of those are up now. They're open on the GitHub website. There's been quite a bit of discussion on them, especially from the Red Hat team. And so I'd love to see, I guess, engagement from the rest of the community. I did post the links on the Slack channel as well, just on the pipelines channel for Kubeflow. And so yeah, just these are proposals. They're not meant to be full solutions or full plans, but the more that people can read them and talk about them, bring up any concerns or things like that, this is definitely something we'd love to have more discussion on. And then the next step, I guess, is to try and turn these into some work that we can do to improve the pipelines experience. So and especially the component experience for ML engineers. Yeah, I think that's it for me. Chen, would love to, I guess, get your opinion, since I know like Google has some it touches the components directory a bit. So yeah, I'd love to get your take.
Yeah,
sure.
I'll take a look. I think yeah, the Google components are kind of different. Those should be considered like third-party components, but what you're proposing is first-party. I think that makes sense. And yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Sumer.
Cool. Yeah, definitely please take a look. I think the state of components is right now kind of a mess. So this would help kind of bring some sanity to that. Thank you, Daniel, for pushing this forward. I have the next topic. So the Argo manifests today, we like copy them every time we upgrade Argo. We have to copy them again. I kind of don't understand why we keep a copy of the Argo manifest. It's just a copy paste. Customize lets us remote reference them. I don't know if Chen, you have history on this, or if anybody has strong like opinions, but I would rather just delete the Argo manifests and do a remote reference, and you can just pull those in your customized build. Is there any benefit to keeping a copy of the Argo manifests in Argo?
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't know the full history on this one. I'm guessing probably because we can't like reference remote resource in the past.
Yeah.
So if you find a working solution, I think maybe let's try that.
Anybody else feel any strong. I don't know like how this would impact Kubeflow, broader Kubeflow, which I know they aggregate all the manifests from the different components, but I don't know. This is one of the utilities that Customize offers. I feel like we should utilize it and reduce some of the that air that we have to manage. It'll make cargo upgrades a lot easier. We're just updating like a line rather than copying all of the manifests and what have you. So customize reference or here. Reference. Let's use them.
Yeah, I was just curious. So I went to the Kubeflow manifests repo to see if Cert Manager did that. Because that's another component that we often install through the official Kubeflow installation, and all the manifests are included in the repo as well for that. So it might be worth to check with Julius as to why that's the case.
So where do they do this? Sorry, for Cert Manager?
In the Kubeflow manifests repo.
Repo. Oh, I see. Check with Julius, yeah.
Yeah. But in general, yeah, I'm +1. We shouldn't be rebuilding the Argo workflows images either, if possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I think so. We actually got rid of that, but yeah. Cool. I agree, 100%. Matt, you have the next topic.
Ricardo has his.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a quick thing about this comment, Matt. I guess today Julius is maintaining components manifest under the Kubeflow manifest because of the CSS restricted profile that would like to achieve in the Kubeflow installations. Maybe it's just a way to guarantee that the dependent components follow the same PSS restricted profile. But at the top of my head, that's one of the biggest requirements. Maybe there's something else.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, the next topic I have is just a pet peeve of mine is that we don't use the GoFumt, I think is how you're supposed to pronounce that, as a lint checker in on the back end. So I have VS Code automatically run that when I save the file. So whenever I make changes, I have to like stage the hunks when I add it with git add, as opposed to adding the whole file, which is annoying. So it'd be nice to kind of standardize on that since most of the Go community uses that anyways.
Yeah. Alex is linking the Golang CI. I think in general, like the linting is very lacking right now. I am super +1. If you could get like a pre-commit configuration as well, that would be nice. I just threw on like it'd be nice to have YAML linting. We have a bunch of YAML manifests as well. So I say format too. I don't think you're gonna get a lot of resistance here. I think let's move forward with it. Who hates linting? Come on.
Yeah, does someone want to volunteer to do it to get all that GitHub credit?
It's gonna be like thousands of lines of change. Let's make the issue, and then see if somebody wants to do it. Boost your numbers, your green boxes. All right, Matt, you have the next one too.
Yeah, one of the other annoying bits is that when I do local development on a kind cluster, it deploys the manifest so that driver and launcher are from the last released KFP. And so it'd be nice if we always had the latest container image built off of main. So when you're doing local development, like if there is a breaking change and like adding arguments to driver and launcher that aren't recognized in older KFP 2.4, you don't run into those when you're doing local development. So I wonder if this used to be done before the migration to GitHub workflows, because there was like that Google Cloud container image build on pushes to main that was failing.
I added so this morning we merged a pull request that's now pushing the image builds for master branch. And I linked the PR there. So the only remaining item would be to update our manifest in the master branch. So I think that should accompany like a workflow to like update the release scripts so that when we run the release scripts, it change. I think it'll already happen, but it should at least be tested. So like in the manifest for APIs, even like API server and all that stuff, plus the driver and launcher, they should all be set to like master branch in when you're sitting in master, right? And then when we cut a release, the release automation script should automatically update those tags to match that release version. But I think that will happen already. Just just got to confirm.
Is the new tag called master?
I kept it consistent with the branch. I was thinking I should call it main, but I don't know. I just went the same with what the branch is called. So
Okay.
yeah. Sorry, did I write main? Should have been master. There.
Is latest also there too?
Latest is our latest release. So this one, I think we'll get like some strong opinions because some folks feel latest should point to the latest release and not the latest built image. Whereas others feel the other way. So I didn't touch
Yeah.
latest.
The only reason why I ask is that if it's latest, then Kubernetes defaults to always pulling the image. Whereas if it's some other tag, it's if not present, I think is the default. So you could get into a weird state where you're not pulling the latest driver and launcher. It's just using what's cached.
Yeah. I know. I mean, you can always, so since this is a manifest level thing, you can always just like set your deployments to always pull. I guess you can't you don't want to do that for driver launcher.
Yeah, that's in code. It's fine. I can work around it.
I didn't think about that. Yeah. I mean, there's still the SHAs, so you can use that. But anyways, then you'd have to update it every time.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else regarding images in master or master? All right. Oh, cool. We got a volunteer. Feel free to create the issue for it if one doesn't pop up anytime soon and for the Go format. Okay. We have a last topic from Ricardo. We have like 5 minutes. We can do this. Did you want to speak about it a little bit or?
But I mean, just a quick comment to give everyone's context. We relaxed a bit the stalebot configuration to keep the issues open and with the label stale before closing them. But I guess we need to figure out a way to keep the issues in a number that could be healthy for the community. So proposal is to have like for every pipeline working groups meeting to have like 50 minutes dedicated to do some triaging and configure stale bots to ignore all of the issues with label triaged. So I'd like to hear any thoughts from the community about this.
I think we probably, since we only have like 4 minutes, we might not get too much of it. We can bring attention to what we're targeting for 2.5 and what PRs are still pending review, and bring attention to those, which kind of falls in line with what we're talking about. I think a full triage feels like we need more time. I have a
Today,
board here.
because we have 200 plus 200 issues open, maybe we could think of a way to like put in evidence the issues that need more attention and then triage them accordingly. I don't know.
I can so I've brought this up before. If people are willing, I can hold a separate triaging call where we groom the board and the issues. Would folks be interested in that? I can do this on on the weeks that we don't have a KFP call. So bi-weekly.
Right. Well, I mean, if it's not something that will overload you, maybe be an option, but we can wait till the next meeting to find other options for better triaging those issues.
I'll start a meeting. I mean, I don't, if nobody joins, it's just me sitting for 45 minutes and triaging. So, it's if folks want to join this, I'll advertise this and see how it goes because I think it'd be worthwhile. I feel like our calls in KFP for community calls are often like going to the end anyways, or near the end. So I don't think we'll be able to fill this time slot with any sort of discussion on triaging and going over the board in any meaningful sense anyways.
Mhm.
Please take a look at the project board. I think folks that are members have access to adding things and removing things. I don't know how I feel about that, but I see that some folks have been pretty diligent in updating it. So appreciate that. I'll keep trying to like form hygiene on it. And yeah. Please take a look at also the milestone for KFP for 2.5. So there's some issues left there. That I'm kind of poking. So we merged some of the milestone issues this morning. The logs thing got merged. Optional inputs got merged. I think we have the Kubernetes native API that's still left. And we have the DSL collected PR. I think, Matt, you are going to review that or you have already, I don't know.
I did review it, yeah.
Okay. I don't know what the bandwidth of for Michael is, but Alex, if you guys want to get it in for 2.5, let me know. And just keep me posted on whether I should be waiting or what have you.
Yeah. Hey, Humor. It's actually Mike. I'm with Alex in the office right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I saw the review from you, Matt, yesterday. Thanks for that. I addressed some of the comments and I did I walked through the PR with Alex earlier today. So he gave me some feedback. I'm gonna hopefully address it, if not later today, definitely tomorrow, and then hopefully this week to round that out, and hopefully it looks good to everyone else.
Okay. Sounds like then we're still aiming for 2.5. So I'll operate under that assumption. And keep us posted. Cool. Anything else in the milestone that you're assigned to, you are assigned to take a look. And if you feel like you're not going to have it in time for this week, then we can always just push it. So don't stress about it. All right. We're at time. So thank you everyone for joining. I'll be sure to post the recording of this call to the Kubeflow Pipelines playlist, and you can check it out there. And see you all next time. So take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
Thank you, Lane.